Awesome work.
Oh, man.
So next we have the one-hand lapel, Sirdan. Now Sirdan's the man. Sirdan's, how long did you work in clubs?
15 years.
15 years. So Sirdan's seen it all. Seen people get shot,
Yes.
stabbed.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. So he's seen a lot of the real stuff. So we're going to be doing the one-arm lapel, and this is probably, like you said before we started the video, you said this is probably the most common way people fight, the hockey fight.
Yeah.
Right? So what is it? Guy grabs with one arm and just starts going right into the face. Right? And I can tell you, most people I've seen from I don't know for you too, but from my experience from clubs, there's two ways people fight. One is this way, and the other one is just the wild punches coming in. So those are, to me, the two most common ways that people will fight. And I don't know if you've seen it, I've seen guys do this stuff, where they get into a boxing stand, they look all good, but once they clinch, it turns into, and they're screaming and the punches are coming from every angle. And believe it or not, I'd rather fight somebody like this than somebody like this, because sometimes it just becomes so unorthodox, so wild, the punches are just coming in from every angle that it just becomes so hard for you to say, like, what is he doing? Where is he coming from? And it happens so fast. Is it the same thing for you or no?
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like if the guy does this, I'm like, okay, good, we're in a stance, we're going to block, I'm going to slip, I know what he's going to do, but this type of stuff becomes so wild to stop. Plus the hands start moving, you're like, does the guy have a weapon? Does he have a knife? You know what I mean? And the angles are just so crazy. So we're going to cover the one-arm lapel. Now, what I want to do for the one-arm lapel is I'm going to use Mark too. Mark, come over here. Actually, wait, Mark, wait a second. I'm going to do it first with Sirdan. What happens is, okay, grab me the shirt. Okay, in a one-arm lapel, the person will use his arm to keep you back, and the hand will come up, and he's going to start nailing right here. Okay, it gets very hard to defend against, because not only do you have the punch to worry about, but you have this arm to worry about. This is the arm that's actually keeping you from striking. Now, I can strike Sirdan from here pretty easily, so I don't have to worry so much about moving the arm. And even then, sometimes it's not easy to move the arm because the person is still striking. Okay. However, later on, you're going to see we're going to do the same drill with Mark, and it's going to be much harder because we have such a huge range of difference. Okay. So if the person has the arm, grab again. What do I want to do for me? The first thing I want to do is try to bring up my hand over here, keep a stick on his arm. Why? Just in case he lets go and comes in here. So I might do this. I say, hey, yeah, ma'am, and let go right here. Or from here, I might do this and let go and strike into the throat. And even though you're going to go into critical focus on the punch, well, this can knock you out because you won't see this coming. You won't expect it, right? I can go right here, and from here you could release and go for a palm strike straight up. Boom, and I won't even see that. Especially if I'm talking while he hits me, I'm going to get knocked out. Okay, so you have the arm to wrist. I want to establish a stick so he won't be able to do that. The second thing I want to try to do is tuck in my head, right? And one of the striking principles, and with Sirdan he does it instinctively every time, tucks his head in. Why? Because I know that, well, the big danger threat is my face. If I take a couple of shots in the head, you'll survive. Your head's going to be able to take it. But if I take in the facial area, break my nose, tooth, jaw, this is more of the knockout areas. So I'll tuck in my head the first thing. So if I take any shots, I take them to the head. The second thing is my hands are going to come up. Okay? The last thing I want to do is try to move in this way. I want to try to move away from his power punch and from the biggest threat, where I'm a little bit off to the side, my hands are here, because what I want to try to do is move and strike, and I want to try to start moving onto the side. Remember, one of the principles, the diamond principle, is what? Strike wide and establish chest to back as quickly as possible. Okay? So from here to here, my hands are up. If he decides to start striking, my hands are going to come up. I'm going to block, okay? Now, what can happen very often, some people block like this. There's an advantage, disadvantage. Yeah, it's quicker and easier to block. But if the guy's got a weapon, or if the guy's got, brass knuckles, or if the guy's got something, well, I might be taking it into the arm, into the thing. So I'd rather try to stop it as much as possible here, okay? So I want to keep the arm at this distance. If I keep it at 90, he's easily going to overpower me. So I want to keep it at this angle where it becomes much force. It's much harder for him to break. Now, what happened to me, this happened to me more than once in the street when, but it wasn't a one-arm lapel, is when the punch is thrown and I end up here, okay? When you end up here and he's overpowering, well, now it's kind of too late for me to come back and do this. You'll never have enough core strength and enough power Dude, give me power. Leader. Come. All I'm gonna do is go down to the ground. That happens in that case, all you can do is just turn and try to establish chest to back. Okay? But I'm gonna be covering it also in the haymaker because, and a lot of times it happened to me where as much as you train, as much as you calculate everything, shit happens, and it doesn't happen exactly the way you train. And sometimes the strike is done so explosively and so fast that just those few seconds make a difference, and you end up stopping it here. And it happened to me. I was here, and I'm trying to move back. I said, "Shit, what am I doing?" And then I just instinctively just duck, slip, and establish chest to back. So what we're going to do for the first drill, because this is to me one of the most important ways to learn how to fight, is to actually what we're going to do is we're going to put on a helmet. I'm going to put on a helmet. So Dan put on a helmet, he's going to put on gloves. For the first part of the drill, all he's going to be doing is he's going to be punching me. First part of the drill is for me is not to take any hits, to try to trap, to try to move in, to try to find a way to take the least amount of hits as possible, okay? So Dan, just put on a helmet. Put on the boxing gloves. So, again, like I said, guys, this is the most common thing, and you're going to see the difference. And this is what a lot of martial arts people teach self-defense don't do. Well, if I'm going to train with somebody who's half my size, well, I've learned how to defend myself against somebody who's half my size. But you got to train for bigger, taller, and stronger attackers, then the rest become easier. Okay, and I'll give you the example and I'll prove it to you after when he's going to get to attack Mark. He's going to have a much longer reach than Mark, how hard it's going to be for Mark to try to apply the same principles as we're doing here. Okay, so I'm going to put on the helmet, take off one glove just so you can grab my... Now, we're going to start from a very simple, just start by grabbing my t-shirt. Whenever you want, go. Keep going, keep going. Grab again. Whenever you want, go. Go, go. Go, 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 go. Keep going. Again. Whenever you want. Great. Now you saw, right? But now, again, I knew exactly what he was going to do. So I don't want to make it like the rest of the self-defense videos where he grabs my one arm lapel and I show you how successfully he did it. But later on, there's going to be full-out attacks without knowing what the person will do. But the first thing I did is try to tuck in my head, bring in my arm. I grabbed his arm because I don't want to allow him, come over here. I don't want to allow him to let go of this arm, and then I got to try to trap him, and then he's throwing punches with both arms. So my first thing was, I'm going to keep you here, and I'm going to make sure I block this arm, right? Establish a trap. In reality, I'd be striking, right? But we're going to cover that a little bit later. So what do? I tuck in my head, I trap the arm, and I try to pin, immobilize, stick to him, use my whole body, not my arm, not my back, not my shoulder. My entire body has to come in and trap. Right, he's much bigger than me, he's stronger than me, but I gotta use all my force to keep him in there as much as possible. Now, Mark, come over here. Put on the helmet again. You can do it again. Put on the helmet, Mark. So, the same thing now. You're gonna grab Mark, no striking Mark. Just bam, 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 rapid punches. Use your reach, moving back, moving forward. Okay? Now we have, look at this. Like a pretty big reach. So Dan has a much wider reach than him. This is when most common times I've seen fights happen. In this situation, one arm lapel, the guy's much bigger, he's much taller. He uses that reach, it's like bam, and you're trying to stop him. You're focusing on the arm, you're trying to come in. The guy's pushing you and throwing his punch. Let me see it happen. So no strikes allowed, only trapping. Don't let him get the arm. Trap the arm underneath, trap it, pin it. Trap the arm, that's it, break. Break, good. Now he nailed a lot of shots, right? A lot of them wouldn't have done that much damage. They're behind the head, they're half blocked, half stopped. where did Mark go wrong? When he's trying to trap the arm, you got to trap the elbow. Okay, the elbow is the weakest part between the shoulder and the hand. So you got to try to pin it over here, right? Because it doesn't have much force. If I do it over here, the person could move the arm. Grab me here, grab me. I still have more here. If you grab the elbow and I pin it here, it becomes much harder for me, right? You pin it to his body, okay? Go again. But you saw how easy it was for me to block that punch because I had that reach, and how hard Mark had to explode to come in to not let him get it. Go again. Don't let him, Mark. Sudan, use that weight, use that range. Go. Wait, start. That's it. Wait. Start back here. And whenever you're ready, go. Make it hard for him. Go. Look at that. That's it. Behind the head. Uppercut him. That's it. Keep going. That's it. Break it up. Keep throwing that punch. Go. Break. Nice. You managed to get a few shots, right? What did you feel in that, Mark? What did you feel?
The impact is it.
You were feeling it.
Doesn't matter. Like if you grab him,
You're still feeling the shots. Yeah, you have a height and weight disadvantage, guys. Anybody who tells you size doesn't matter, take this off, Sudan. Anybody who says size doesn't matter, to me, has never fought anybody bigger. Does size make us a difference for you?
Everything matters.
Speed,
size.
But when you're facing somebody who's 200 pounds more than you, whether he knows how to throw a perfect punch or knows how to transfer his weight with a perfect punch, still 200 pounds more coming straight to you. Whether he doesn't hit with full force, there's still a weight that you have to move, that you have to deal with. It's still a disadvantage towards you. Again, there's a lot of factors, but to me, this being a main one.
Especially over 200 pounds, you can get knocked out with one punch easily.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's no doubt about it, man. You know what I mean? So size makes a difference, so does height and weight and range, right? Finding somebody with a longer range, well, it becomes much harder for you to enter, much harder for you to counter, harder for even when you're faced against a knife, because the guy has such a big range, it takes so much more timing and speed for you to come in. Okay? Put on the helmet again. So I'm gonna go now again. So now what we're gonna do, okay, I'm gonna go very light, I'm gonna strike, don't worry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing. Now he's gonna be doing the same thing. He's gonna come in with a punch, right? But I'm gonna be allowed to strike, okay? So now, again, there's three things I have to worry about. I gotta worry about his arm here, making sure he can't move it. I gotta make sure I trap so I don't break away, and then I gotta deal with both his hands and then try to enter against a guy who's much taller and stronger than me. I gotta worry about his fist, right? And I gotta counter as quickly as possible. Objective is to counter and try to move out of this off the side. The last thing I wanna do is move into his power box, right into this punch, because this is his power punch. So I'm striking and I'm moving. So you're basically doing 4 or 5 things at the same time. Now, which one do you do first? Do you strike first? Do you block first? It depends. I don't know. It all depends on what he does first. Okay? But I'm going to allow him to do the first strike first. Technically, you're put in this situation, I'm talking, it's easy for me to go to preemptive, right? If I decide to go preemptive, my hands are coming up here. If I'm talking to him, and he's saying, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, whatever, my hands are here, strike there, move off to the side. Okay? But what we're going to do for the first part of the drill, the second part of the drill, is actually, I'm going to be allowed to counter. Okay? So all you're going to do, I'm going to go light, grab me, just start throwing those punches, okay? Once you feel 2 or 3 strikes, or if I say break, just stop, okay?
Oh.
Whatever you want. Come again. Oh. Let's try with rock.